Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio. Welcome to Later with Jason Suel. We're thrilled about the show today.
What a day.
And we got a new friend over here with us. Thomas is joining us, right, Thomas?
Woo! Man, so excited.
Couldn't be more excited.
Cannot be more excited today.
Why are you so excited today, Thomas?
Because I'm here with you, the drummer from Ultra Sway.
Yes, and you're looking. And you're looking really important over there with your. What are you receiving transmissions from?
I'm listening to a Razorback game that we recorded.
Okay. Glad to know you're here with us mentally also.
Yeah, 50% here. 50% here.
You're 50% everywhere every time I see you.
That's right.
Also joining us in the studio today, we've got the lovely Hannah Withers coming by from the Block Street Business Association. We can't wait to talk to her. Yeah, big round of applause for Hannah. Houston Hughes is coming by the studio. Houston, a performance poet and the host of Last Saturday Fayetteville, will be joining us. Yes. And the band Vintage Pistol will be here to perform for us a little bit later on in the show. We're excited about them being here. Yes. Let's check in with the band. How's it going, guys?
It's going well, Jason.
Yeah, good. I should mention this is Kiefer. Kiefer's joining us today. Kiefer Roach from the band Truman Rail Boys. And we're hoping to have Truman Rail Boys on the show this season also. So.
Awesome.
One day you'll make it.
Just literally one day.
Yes, you'll be here one time. That's it. Never again.
I just noticed he wasn't Jason.
It just happened.
I just realized that.
Yep, not the same guy, different guy. Hopefully we'll get Jason back at some point. So Owen,
Yes.
you were telling me, yeah, you're done. You were telling me before the show, because Charlie has this lovely Stevie Wonder shirt on. About the conspiracy theory. I just elaborate on that.
It?
I really haven't until you mentioned it
There's a
earlier.
whole website devoted to a conspiracy theory that Stevie Wonder is not blind.
No way.
It is based off one clip. I encourage you to go look at it.
That is absurd.
It's a bunch
Absurd.
of it's total crap.
Absurd.
But yeah, apparently there's one clip. It's like 3 seconds long. Somebody knocks over a mic stand and he happens to catch it. And there's a whole theory, whole web page devoted to those 3 seconds.
No way.
It's crazy.
No.
Does his head follow the stand?
No, actually, it doesn't. He's just like a ninja. He's just sitting there and
He hears it.
he hears
He
it.
is Stevie Wonder, man.
Yeah,
He is a ninja. He
Yeah.
is a ninja.
Yes.
That's the only clip they have.
Musical
It's
ninja.
one clip. That's it. I don't even know the name of the website, but I'm sure if you just Google Stevie Wonder not blind, it'll be the first thing that comes up.
Well, that's interesting. I'm glad you wore that shirt today, Charlie, so that we could have a little conversation
My
about
pleasure.
Stevie Wonder's non-blindness. I can't wait for the rest of this show. We've got some real Northwest Arkansas ninjas, Hannah Withers, Houston Hughes, Vintage Pistol, going to be joining us. Hopefully we can get them to fight. I don't know. They're ninjas, so we'll see. They might throw down with each other in a little bit. So join us right after the break. We'll see you then.
You know, there's a lot of these acronyms out there that mean different things in the computer world. But one thing I'll tell you for sure, if you drink a lot of OJ, you will PC. Last year, I want to warn you, I took a big old gigabyte out of some spam and had a virus for about 6 months. There's something I want to remind people of too. A text is meant to be short. Don't get too long in your text. It's not meant to be long suppository writing. I hate to tell you, but I drank so much sweet tea, I almost flooded my own inbox. LOL does not mean lots of Lipitor. I went to the dentist last week and he pulled my Bluetooth without buffering my terabyte. And I told him, next time he does that, I'm going to put a boot up his bandwidth, and I can make it look like not my default. Well, it's almost springtime, and as you can see, I hear a lot of tweeter around me, and I know it's in the air. So If you want to check something out and you want to send me something that you feel that you're not quite sure about, you can do it on the Snapchat chat, and it only lasts for about 8 weeks or so if you do it on there. So, signing off. I'll see you on the face tubes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Houston Hughes.
I'm not sure why I kissed you that night, but I think it's because I'd run out of options. My mind was too busy running for its life. My stomach was preoccupied with twisting itself into balloon animals, so all I could pay attention to was flesh. Cold, pale skin glowing in the night as the moon shone through those low trees, casting inconsistent shadows that made us look like we cut ourselves into pieces small enough to eat as sacraments. And your cheeks were soft and warm and innocent, like a sheep just before it is slaughtered. I watched you grow. Watched your brown twiggy arms as they gnarled themselves into limbs. Watched the shade of your face change as the first stages of manliness began to plant their dark seeds into your cheeks. Watched as your hair became long and winding vines, stretching itself into impossibly beautiful yarns, like the ones you would tell us when we and the boys would sneak off in secret, get just far enough outside the city to howl like the wolves that we were, drunk on more wine than any of us could remember bringing. Collapse around the bonfire in fits of laughter, our bodies creating sandstorms as they writhed, but once we dust devils had settled, we always looked to you for a story. You spoke of your imaginary worlds with such eloquence that we couldn't help but wish one day we'd end up there. It was on one of those nights that we managed to fall into each other. We both heard the call of gravity, but found the right answer in each other's arms instead, and long after your eyelids had thrown in the towel, my fingertips were still listening to the braille whispers of your whiskers. But you were the center of everyone's focus in those days, and the way you were able to make something mystical out of even the most mundane gave a whole new meaning to turning tricks, but I stuck with you. Even when you decided to take your show on the road, you were a superstar, and the crowds grew large enough you asked me if I could start handling your finances. It was the only romantic thing you ever said. But as the years went on, you grew more distant, and any alone time I could get with you was nothing short of a miracle. And I didn't understand, because what you seemed to be saying was make love, not war. And all I wanted was one chance to let you practice what you preach, because these crowds, they're only with you conditionally, and you were never any good at distinguishing the difference between cries for an encore. In your own head, I came to you one night, asked you if this was your ideal life, told you I'd been skimming some off the top for a while, and we could retire off what I'd saved. You told me you felt betrayed and to never speak to you again. So, Jesus, I turned you over, but only because I hope that you'll see the light, that when they ask you if the accusations are true, you'll deny it, and you'll be released with nothing more lost than a few pints of blood and some pride, and then we'll run by two strong black horses and right off into the sunset in search of a place where the writers will never make metaphors of either of our names. And if not, if I find out I've condemned you to death, I swear to you, I'm gonna find the tallest tree I can. And maybe if I just take a leap of faith, I can find a noose that will hold me the way I always wish that your arms could. Yours forever, Judas.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for being here, joining us. Houston Hughes, performance poet, host of Last Saturday, big part, programming director of Last Night Fayetteville. You've got a lot of things happening.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So the big thing I guess we want to talk about is last Saturday Fayetteville.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So last Saturday is a variety show. It's and what we do is short form features. So all the people who come in to perform have 10 minutes or less to do whatever it is they do.
Wow, that's a shortened time frame. Like you got to get in there, do it, and get out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the hope is that it's kind of a show for the ADD generation, because it's like if you don't like what's going on right now, you have 10 minutes or less until something brand new is on
Right.
stage.
Yeah.
So we always have one band. We've got one we try and do a weirder musical act, somebody that's doing like break flute or some kind of weird one-man band stuff,
Right.
things like that. And then we have a comedian. We usually pull from Comedians NWA, but we have some other folks come in too. And then we have one act that's a real variety act. We've had burlesque folks, we've had jugglers, we've had fire spinners, hoopers, aerialists, acrobats, just any kind of thing that you can put there. So we have those 4 acts. We usually start off with 3 of them, and then we do a word war in the middle. And the word war is a competition where people go up and have 3 minutes to use just their words to entertain the audience. And then the audience ranks them from 0 to 10, and whoever wins at the end of the night gets some cash to take home, and then we put the final act of the night up.
So the word war, they get up and do they talk to the audience? Is it poetry? What is a word war?
So the word war started because I've been doing poetry slam for a long time, and I
Right.
started off doing poetry slam up here, and the slams in Fayetteville nobody wanted to come to, in part because nobody knew what a poetry slam was up
Sure.
here, and the people who did went there, and it kind of was. It didn't have enough energy to the show, wasn't moving along fast enough. So I was out on tour, and I saw this show out in Oakland called Tourette's Without Regrets. It's run by this guy named Jamie DeWolf, and it had a poetry slam, but the poetry slam was just one act in a much larger show.
Right.
And so I kind of thought that would help it out. And also, we're not calling it a poetry slam because I'd really like to encourage people like comedians, like singers to come out, because the rules are you can't use any props, you can't use any costumes, and whatever you perform, you have to have written yourself. But that doesn't just mean poetry. There are plenty of other things that could fall
Sure.
under that. And so I'm kind of shying away from the poetry slam
Title, right?
title for it to try and get more people involved.
Right, that totally makes sense. How long do people have to talk?
You get 2 3-minute segments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thomas, you think you could do that?
No, there's no chance I could do that.
Okay. Thomas is out.
But Houston, do you get your strength from your hair? Is that?
I get part of it from my hair. Yes,
Yeah, where's the other
absolutely.
part
The other
come from?
part is the beard, of course.
It's all to do with hair. in
Right,
some-
it's all hair related.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be length. It's just majesty.
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
I see.
General.
I thought so.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody planted their
Let me
dark
write that
seeds in
down.
your cheeks.
They
You know?
it did.
I don't know. Just quoting your
Must have been Jesus.
yeah, your Judas poem, which I loved. How long has that been a part of your sort of performance act? Judas.
That was one of the first pieces I wrote after I moved up here. So it's been about 4.5 years that's been part of my repertoire. And then we added, I've been doing that one for a while before this musician and friend of mine named John Henry put some music to it.
Yeah.
Because it was the tour I told you about where
Yeah,
I went
yeah.
out to the West Coast. I did 20 dates in 30 days, and I had a musician booked to come with me, and he kind of flaked at the last minute. And so John Henry picked up the slack, and we put together a couple of my poems, added his music to them, and so we just go back and forth doing poems, music, something with both of them. And so, that was about 3 years ago that we
Yeah.
did that. So
So that was John Henry after taking a break from building all those railroads?
yes, after all of his
Same guy.
earth-shaking.
That's a
Same
busy
guy.
That's a busy guy.
Very busy,
Wow.
very busy.
You
But before the heart attack. So
Okay.
we've
Wow.
got that limited window, you know?
In his prime.
Right, exactly.
glad we cleared that up. I mean, that was a rough time, that heart attack time.
Yeah, it was.
Well, a couple of years ago, there was a international or national poetry
The individual
slam,
World Poetry Slam.
and that happened right here in Fayetteville.
Yes,
And I
it
know
did.
it's kind of like old news, maybe, but I would love for you just to explain, because you were a really integral part of making that happen here in this location, right?
Right. Well, so There are 3 major poetry slam tournaments that happen every year: the Individual World Poetry Slam, the Women of the World Poetry Slam, and the National Poetry Slam. The national one is the team competition. The other 2 are individual competitions. And I had actually been to the Individual World Poetry Slam in 2010 and made it to final stage, made 12th in the world. And after I came back from that,
12th in the world?
Yeah. After I came back from that, we all kind of had a discussion about what would need to go into hosting that here, and decided we wanted to do it here. So we put in a bid, won the bid to do it in 2012, and yeah, it went off pretty well. We had it in venues all up and down Dixie Street and Block Street, and yeah, I think it went off pretty well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's just really cool that we had something of that magnitude within the poetry world right here in Fayetteville. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there are a lot of really great things like that that go on. Like, people don't realize Juggleology is a juggle group from here in town. They have won first in an international competition like 2 or 3 years running now, and people just don't know, which is part of the reason the variety show is a real passion of mine,
Yeah,
because I want to
absolutely.
bring together, you know, there are all these groups, the jugglers, there's the comedians who on their good night can fill a bar, but on most nights are half full or less.
Right.
And you want to bring in all these different groups, be like, hey, you can promote your show and also be in an environment where everyone is here to watch.
Yeah.
They're not here incidentally because they're in the bar and you happen to be on stage at the same time.
Exactly.
They are here for you.
Because you never know what kind of an audience you're going to get when something like that happens. Because, you know, you go to a bar to have a drink or whatever, you're not really there to see the people performing. And so maybe that can, you know, be weird. Thomas and I have performed in situations like that before.
Yeah,
where,
those are rough.
where
Those are
people
rough
aren't really
shows.
there to see you. So it's really nice to have a focused audience, right? And it happens the last Saturday of every month.
Last Saturday of every month except December, and of course then we're doing New Year's Eve.
Right. And so that's another thing that you're heavily involved with is the last night Fayetteville, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They hired me on as programming coordinator beginning for this last one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. We got to drop a hog covered in LEDs, and
Yep.
our
Not a real hog.
no,
right?
no, not a real
That
hog.
happened. That happened on your farm, didn't it, Thomas?
Yeah, we drop we drop a pig on my farm every year on
Dropping
my
a
birthday.
farm on the pig is more difficult, I
Yeah,
imagine.
that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be different.
But yeah, they, you know, we expanded the number of stages, and we're gonna get 2 more stages this coming year as well, and just make things always bigger, always better, always, you know, it's on the map. It's a big thing for Fayetteville.
It is, always moving forward, both of these things. So if people want to find out more information about last Saturday specifically, where can they look? How do they find out about it? Where does it
Well,
happen?
they can come to the show, which is
Right.
the last Saturday of every month. It's doors at 7. Show starts right at 7:30, and that's at the Fayetteville Underground Art Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to find out more, they can just look up Last Saturday Fayetteville on Facebook.
Great. And for those viewers that don't know, Fayetteville Underground Art Gallery is located on the square
Right
in
on the
downtown
square, right
Fayetteville.
between Tim's Pizza and the Visitors Center. It's
That's
just at
right,
that corner.
right there in the corner. So
Yeah.
thanks so much for being here. Thank
Yeah,
you for sharing that
absolutely.
poem with us. I really appreciate your time, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen and what continues, all these great things happening in Fayetteville and that you're involved with. So big round of applause for Houston, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Stick around. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, Vintage Pistol.
Got a little smoke in my pocket, a little whiskey in my coat. I got a chain around this heart of mine. This time it won't be broke. And all this time we knew that it would end. And I can't play no games, and I can't win.
Dixon Street Records brings you its 5th annual Black Gravy Rock Festival.
Hey everybody, I'm Bebop Hatfield.
And I'm El Chapero, and we're bringing you the lineup for the best rock festival in the tri-state area.
The biggest names, the most fun, the best shenanigans are at the 5th annual Dixon Street Records Black Gravy Rock Festival.
Ready for some migraines and music? We've got Birdcage from Hell, Beat Sweats, Satan's Choir Boys, Rustic Trombone, Mr. Chowder Fountain, and more.
It's the best, worst festival ever! No water allowed, no weird hats, no guys with hipster mustaches, and no tents!
That's right, Joe. Absolutely no tents allowed.
You want shelter? Oh, we've got shelter. It's called The Mud.
Ha ha! We're serious. If you pansies want shelter, dig a little hole in the mud and cover up like a little pig.
Oh yeah, and don't forget the mandatory hot dog eating contest sponsored by Farmer Johnson's Wieners.
Competition is steep against returning champion Filthy Owen.
Hey, and thanks to a recent tornado,
We got loose tigers up in here, provided by the Tiger Shelter.
gargle fried chili.
Experience 7 minutes in heaven with Filthy Owen.
More music?
There's gonna be Tooth Chalice, Grandpa's Death Grip, Chafe and Scrum, and don't miss a very special encore performance by Mr. Chowder Fountain.
That's some killer bands, boy. I've been dying to see Mr. Chowder Fountain. I hear they spit real blood.
Yeah. And stick around for the last day of the festival for the best cooked skin contest. And if that wasn't enough for you squirms, check out this list of special guests.
Like the lady who fell out the back of Bobby Petrino's motorcycle.
Ronnie Brewer.
Houston Hughes / Jesus.
And University of Arkansas head football coach Brett Bielema throwing shards of glass at you in the glass gauntlet.
You wanna get crazy?
Follow us into a cave with no exit.
A cave with no exit.
Plus, we got a bunch of clay pots you can eat. And here's the best part.
Everybody gets a blowtorch.
Oh, that's right. Everybody's gonna be running around wicked tweaking with a blowtorch.
Literally, everyone gets a blowtorch.
I'm bringing a tank.
So get your tickets now, Squirms, for the 5th annual Black Gravy Rock Festival.
And get ready to be truly insane.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Later with Jason Suel. I am sitting here with the lovely Hannah Withers. Hannah from the Block Street Business Association. She is co-owner of Maxine's Tap Room. She is the former owner of Little Bread Company, and she is just an all-around awesome lady here in Fayetteville. I'm so happy to have you here. I've wanted you to come to this show for a long time, and it seems like the right time because coming up really soon we have the Block Street Block Party. And I would love for you to talk to us about that. So first of all, give us a little history for the person who has just heard about it but has never made it downtown. What was the idea? Where did it come from? And just talk to us about the history of the event.
Sure, that's easy. It happened pretty naturally. We had a lot of construction on our street in 2008 to 2010, and the whole street was bulldozed. Nobody had parking. A lot of businesses really struggled with it.
Right.
And when they finished it in 2010, we decided that we were going to do some sort of a ribbon cutting celebration, remind people that we were all there, we were still open, and it sort of morphed into one of the biggest days in downtown Fayetteville. We started with 30 to 40 vendors and 3 beer gardens. We encouraged all of our business owners to get outside of their businesses and highlight what they do. And it's turned into 5 beer gardens, over almost 100 live local bands, all local music.
Wow.
150 vendors and everything from pony rides to Velcro walls to beanbag tosses and waiters races and a lot of local beer and a lot of local music.
That's amazing. Now, it happens on Block Street. Does it kind of spill off of the sides of Block Street as well, or is it all pretty well contained on that one
It's
street?
pretty well contained. We have about 4 solid blocks of activities and people. We close down the street so that we can walk in the street. We can't carry our beer in the street. That's
Right.
confined to the beer gardens.
Sure.
But it's pretty well stays on our street. And last year, I think we had almost 12,000 people attend from what we can tell.
Yeah.
It's hard to really know what that
Sure.
means or how that looks. But last year, we had so many people come downtown that didn't walk and ride their bikes that Dixon Street turned into a parking lot, and they were towing cars that just stopped and parked in the middle of Dixon because there was nowhere else to park.
That is amazing. What an accomplishment. And you know, from what I remember, there's different kinds of activities and different things going on. There's things for children. There's things for young families to come out and do. There's things for adults. Do you have like different stages and different locations?
We do. We have a children's stage at Terra Tots on the square that's mostly children's music and children's performers. But I mean, anybody can hear the music from any of the gardens, even if you're under 21. You just can't get in to drink.
Right.
We encourage all the local nonprofits and local businesses that set up as vendors to do something interactive and highlight what they do, whether they use it for a fundraiser or they just do something for fun. So we've had all kinds of interesting people show up with jugglers and fire eaters and all kinds of weird things to draw attention to what they do.
That's amazing. What's your favorite? Like, what do you, I'm sure when you're there, you've got your kind of business hat on and you're making sure things work well, but do you have like a favorite or a few things that you really like to do?
The whole thing as a whole is really my favorite day. I mean, it is really incredible to see anyone who does anything interesting and cool in Fayetteville come out and do it all together on one street.
I mean, it's a huge celebration, isn't it? And it's a real celebration. It has a very kind of Northwest Arkansas, Fayetteville-centric kind of feel to it, and it's really just to showcase all of the cool things that are happening here, you know? There's a lot happening.
I think that's why it's so easy to have a full day where we highlight all those things. I mean, we have an incredible pool of talent of people that do all kinds of crazy and wild things in Fayetteville and Northwest Arkansas. But it's really fun to put them all in one street in one day.
So we're building up to it right now. It's going to happen. It's a free event. That's right, yes. So anybody can come out. Now, I'll ask you this. After it's all said and done, when it's over and you've like closed the event, what does Hannah Withers like to do at that moment?
I usually cripplingly lie on the carpet for a couple of days, and then we get up and put back the pieces of everything that we pulled apart on Block Street.
Cripplingly lying on the carpet. You know what that's like, right, Thomas? Have you ever...
Yeah, that's every morning for me.
Such enthusiasm.
Oh, 50% here, 50% here. Jason.
How's the basketball game going?
Yeah, we scored.
Okay.
We scored.
Awesome. Anything else that we should know? Anything else that's happening? Where can we go to find out more information if we're interested?
There's a lot of information on our Block Street Business website, which is www.blockstreetbusinesses.com. We have an Instagram page that's pretty colorful and informative. We have a Facebook page that's bright and shows all kinds of sales and things that are happening in Block Street businesses throughout the year. But that's a great place to direct through for vendor applications and sponsor applications and list of schedules for bands and all that kind of stuff.
And what's the date?
May 17th.
May
It's a Sunday.
17th. It's coming up really soon. It's a Sunday. What are the hours? When do you open and when is it officially finished?
Noon to dark is usually when we do it. 9 hours of drinking and partying on the street is usually plenty for most of us.
Right.
But it's we haven't had rain. This is our 5th year, and we're knocking on wood that this is our charmer.
Yeah. This is going to be great, and it's grown exponentially every year, so I cannot wait to see what happens. Obviously, I love it every year because there's such a different amount of activities you can do. You know, you can go see a puppet show, you can go see a band, you can go to the beer garden, you can go to have your face painted, you know, whatever. There's stuff for everybody, so I'm really looking forward to it again.
We are too.
Great. Thanks for coming by the studio to talk with us.
Sure. Thanks for having me in your fancy studio.
Thank you for saying that. We have stepped it up a bit in here, haven't we?
What's going on in the green room is crazy. I wish you could be there.
No.
So much fun.
Big round of applause for Hannah for joining us, everybody. Stick around. We've got a lot more fun stuff coming up here on later. Thanks, everybody. Once again, Vintage Pistol. Woo!
Remember us tomorrow from the song left behind with the kids these days. Well, alright. Push come to shove, you know that they tend to run. We're stealing from the rich with a stolen gun. Cause at the kids these days, I thought I told them.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. We want to make sure we thank our guests, Hannah Withers, Houston Hughes, the lovely Cheyenne, the even lovelier Thomas Hunter, Vintage Pistol. I can't even get it out of my mouth. Vintage Pistol was here. We want to thank our house band and Kiefer for joining us. Thanks, everybody, and we'll catch you later. All right. Oh, thanks again. Yeah. Our chemistry is just amazing. I think it did too. Nice job. I mean, you sounded great. And you had that nose ring, so I'm sure people were looking at you. Hey, that you. That was amazing. Oh my gosh, you were great. You sounded great. And the band's awesome. Anything with strings. Anything with strings, this guy can play.
That you're doing it on purpose. Sing like you're singing on key. Talk to the girl that intimidates you. Pretend that you're brilliant.